the realities of what is going on in the country, how much of that, because when citizens now start tagging their president and nickname synonymous to pain, how does the presidency feel about? And you said the president is not aware about that social media.
The president is aware that the citizens are going through some difficulties.
But is he aware that some citizens on social media are calling him T-Pain?
The president does not read what is in the social media.
For you that to manage media for him,
he said
are you telling him, do you give him feedback?
I've seen people using that. Some people have also responded and they called the president a different name. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a non-issue. Some people just out of mischief saying somebody's a T-Pain. It's not T-Pain. The president has never shied away from telling Nigerians that he feels their pain and is working very hard to make sure that he gives them some relief so that things will get better. This country will enjoy more prosperity. If you check what he has been doing, things are pointing to that direction. And the programs that he has been implementing, we are beginning to see positive signs that things are getting better. Things were really bad when it came.
In what areas, Mr. Ononuga?
In several areas.
Yeah, because I mean, as a journalist, you perhaps will understand that when you are saying some of these things, you need to put figures and facts to buttress what you're saying. Is it a point that Nigeria has now dramatically moved in almost every indices of the economy in the negative? Mr. Ononuga, Nigeria has now become the fourth on the continent in GDP.
Let me give
Nigeria's inflation rate, Nigeria's
our
food
economy
inflation,
growth,
our economy
despite
indices
inflation,
have really gone in the red, Mr. Ononuga.
Despite inflation, we are still recording economic growth. The first 2 quarters of this year, we recorded growth. Despite the inflation, revenue has increased. In fact, this country in the first half of this year recorded about 9.1 trillion naira in revenue. Before that, those 6 months, this government was not even getting money from oil. It was mainly the money collected from industries, from other sources and so on. That is where the money came from. Trade surpluses, first 2 quarters of this year. We continue. In fact, we hand more surplus this year in the first 2 quarters, showing that things are getting better. We are exporting more than we are importing. Those are positive signs that the economy is not regressing, that the economy is improving. Look at the stock market. Look at the stock market. People who invested there are making money. The stock index has gone up. In fact, at the stage it got to about 100,000. The index, and you can see positively we are getting more investment in that sector, and to show that the economy is not as bad as people are saying, but there are problems on that.
Mr. Ononuga, there are problems. Incorrect when you say the economy is not that bad. Mr. Ononuga,
if some companies are
how do you gauge a bad economy, Mr. Ononuga? Your interest rate has gone in the last 1 year. Gone from about 600 to 700 to about 1,700.
The CBN has been hiking interest rate because it wants to control inflation. That's the reason.
But you know the implication of that?
No.
When and the price of commodity have been affected. Food inflation is on the rise.
The main driver for inflation, the main driver is food. And this government is working very hard to bring the price of food down. By the time we get harvest, we are moving to dry season harvest now. Dry season short now. This government is investing in it just like it did last time.
Because it might offend the sensibilities of those who may not be able to, who have now rationed their feeding to twice or once a day. When you say things are not as bad, it might make your government look like you're not sensitive to the pains of the Nigerian people.
I'm not saying people are not going through difficulties. Don't misquote me. Don't misunderstand. What I'm saying is that the economy, some people will be having some problems. But what I'm saying, there are some positive signs in this economy.
There are sectors of this economy, Mr. Ononuga, that has not gone this bad in the last 30 years.
There are some positive signs in this economy that show that things are getting better.
But does this government also realize that they have taken this economy from the worst to the worst that it has been in the last 30 years? And you have been following this for years.
This government is repairing it. This
But
government
it's getting bad in the process of repairing.
It's not getting bad.
You met inflation rate. You know what the figures are negative, Mr.
Inflation
Onanuga. I can mention 10 indices for you that show that this government met it 1 year and it's gone back.
Just one indicator.
These are the price of tomatoes, the price of bread, the price of tuber. All food prices have gone in.
We are talking about I said the main driver of this inflation is food. Food. And this government
is there one commodity, Mr. Onanuga, that has remained the same in the last 1 year, that has not gone up today in this country?
I said the main driver.
No, I'm saying leave food aside.
The main driver.
I'm saying leave food aside.
You mentioned inflation.
Yeah.
You mentioned inflation. Of course, inflation means the rise in the price of goods. But I'm saying that the main driver of inflation is mainly, essentially, food.
The purchasing power of the average person has drastically been messed up. People can barely come by what they used to buy 1 year ago. And tonight, how do you tell the Nigerian people who are watching that the government of Bola Tinubu that promised renewed hope, and some of them are saying is renewed shaggy that they are seeing right now? What do you tell them?
You don't know. Well, this government this government has always said that things are going to get better. And I'm just telling you that things are actually getting better. There are still some areas, some gray areas that government needs to do. And this president has always asked Nigerians, I have told Nigerians, be patient a bit. We are going to get to the destiny we want to get to, and that things are going to get better in our country. So it's just a matter of being patient a bit. The president is aware of the difficulties citizens are going through, and is working very hard every day to ensure that things improve.
So the question will say, the president made an order, the cost of governance, and those who will say, those are just window dressing. What about the president buying new private jets? Presidential, adding to the presidential fleet. Is that what we need in the country when people are suffering? That money can really be used for something else. And there are those who will say the government does not show that it's actually sensitive to the need, to the plight of the average person in the kind of manner in which they go about things. In other countries, you see a drastic measures in the reduction in the cost of governance drastically. Is that an example that this government can show to Nigerians that they really feel the
agree with you. A new plane was bought for the president.
Was that necessary?
No, for safety reasons. For safety reasons. Because the plane the president inherited from President Buhari was actually bought by President Obasanjo. And in some of the travels he made, the plane even had some problems. So the National Assembly, the Office of National Security Advisor, they all felt that something ought to be done to protect the president. Unless you want to just allow a president to enter a plane that we can cause problems for him in the air or something like that, basically the reason why a new plane was acquired was for safety of the number one.
At the detriment of the livelihood and the lives.
Not at the detriment,
of the Nigerian people. Can the nation afford that kind of luxury?
Don't let us exaggerate it.
Can the nation afford the luxury, Mr. Onanuga?
Don't call it.
Can you buy a new vehicle when your children cannot feed?
This one was bought for the sake of safety.
But can you buy a vehicle, Mr. Onanuga, as a father, when your children are not able to feed?
If I have the money, why can't I buy another vehicle? If I have the money.
Does Nigeria have the money? We're badly in debt.
It's just an item. Just an item. Just an item.
But with a
just
huge
an
cost.
Item. And it does not mean that government has also shared in responsibilities to fulfill other conditions, other things that our people need. It's just an item. I said the reason it was bought was for the safety of the number one citizen. Unless you want to throw him to the dogs. It was bought for his safety. Nothing more than that.